In this video, we're going to cover the things you need to know about the buildings in your spaceport, because yes, there was a lot of information that is not necessarily included in all of the tooltip descriptions. There's simply not enough space. So strap yourselves in this video to start getting more value from the buildings in your spaceport today. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, a sponsored content creator for Infinite Galaxy. And in today's video, we're going to showcase some of the things that are not necessarily displayed for all of the buildings in your spaceport. And these are really important to know because they will help you grow in power and advance in your journey. And to give you an example, we'll start with the flagship dock. This is important to improve your flagship repair speed, but you may be wondering, Chisgule, I saw that in the description, and honestly, my flagship doesn't need repairs all that often. Well, why does the flagship dock matter? As it turns out, the flagship dock does more than just repair speed. It also improves the maximum level possible for your flagships. So if at some point you find yourself unable to level up your flagships anymore, that is because you need to level up your flagship dock right over here. Other than that, honestly, I wouldn't level this up very much. Continuing on to the next building in your spaceport that does something very important that you might not have noticed is your military dock. Now, it describes an increase to your warship building speed, which is a big deal. Obviously, you want to build warships faster, but the most important thing is these breakpoints listed for the shipbuilding queue added. This means you can literally queue up a whole nother set of warships to be built at the same time. So right now, I have 4 warship queues. I'll show you what that looks like. But the important thing to keep in mind here is that you should very aggressively push to level 7, then push to level 13, then push to level 19 in your military dock. And this is because, as you can see right over here, in our shipbuilding center, I have 4 queues going at the same time. You start with much less than that. So it's basically like free speed ups. This might be one of the most important upgrades in your spaceport, bar none. But there are more upgrades that are hidden beneath the surface. One of those is your defense center. The defense center is going to increase the shield energy limit for your defenses, but it does so much more. Because you may not have noticed, and I certainly did not until someone explained to me, that right over here is your defense platforms. When we tap that, you actually can build and upgrade defensive platforms for your spaceport. This is a very big deal. You also can change the type of weapon that you're using to defend your spaceport. Because I have a lot of boosts to kinetic damage, I'm actually all in on kinetic weapons for the defense of my spaceport. However, you can see that you unlock new platforms through your research. That research is right over here. We can tap in and have it guide us to that. The next building that we need to get a look at that you might not have known how to use is actually going to be your dispatch center. Now, the dispatch center is something that most people won't actually need. The dispatch center is your ability to launch a large rally. The higher your dispatch center level, the more warships can be in your rally. It increases the leadership limit. However, fun fact, it looks like you can launch an unlimited number of rallies at the same time. So however many queues of warships you have, I guess it's not unlimited, but if you have 3 different fleets you could have out on the field, you could have 3 rallies going at the same time, which is pretty amazing. The downside of the command center and rallies in general is that, first of all, to upgrade this thing, it takes dispatch chips. Pretty much the only way to get these dispatch chips is to use Corium. It is extremely expensive. Good news, though, there's very few times where you actually need to rally stuff. So yeah, there's alien spirits that we're rallying, and you could have more capacity to let more people get in under that. And yeah, you also could have higher rally capacity so that a couple times a day, literally twice a day, you can go in and you can rally the campaign simulation center. You could have some more people join that rally. I'll launch a 10-minute rally now just to get that done. Obviously, my guidance would be to pick a time of day and do this with your alliance at that time. I missed that time, so here I am launching my rally now. However, in general, most players do not need to worry about their dispatch center, and if you're feeling crazy like, man, where do I get these dispatch chips? You're not crazy. There's really not a lot of ways to get them in the game right now. Now, one building you've probably put a lot of time and attention to is your embassy. And the embassy is going to increase the number of times you can get helped. But at the start of the game, this is reducing the amount of time it takes to build something by like a minute, or the time it takes to do research by a minute. Your helps will not work on your repair center, which is the equivalent of your hospital if you've been playing Rise of Kingdoms. So this is a okay building, but just okay. It's really not all that important to be leveling up. It also, by the way, is going to increase the leadership limit of people reinforcing your city. Now, if your city or your spaceport is going to get attacked, yes, that is very good. However, it is unlikely your spaceport is going to get attacked. And even then, the chances that somebody is reinforcing you when that happens are slim, even though reinforcing a player's city is extremely overpowered. In this game, spaceport defense is extremely overpowered. And honestly, it should be, because if we go and we get a look at the repair center, the repair center is the equivalent of the hospital in this game. It's the leadership limit for the number of wounded repair ships or damaged repair ships that you can have before, well, anything over that just starts to get destroyed. Now, if your city is getting zeroed, obviously, having a higher leadership limit here is very, very important. In fact, the leadership limit is very, very, very low from the repair center. And that is not true at the start of the game. Actually, you'll really be hard-pressed to have enough leadership to overflow your hospital. However, toward, honestly, the first couple weeks into the game and beyond, you will very likely exceed the repair center's capacity, and that will, at some point, start to cause problems. Now, for now, it's not that big of a deal, and there are plenty of other ways to improve your repair center capacity, so this is not the only way. But the base improvement that you're getting just from upgrading your repair center is actually pretty low, and the repair speed boost is actually really nice. All you have to do is hit a star platform level 6 once and get a 4-hour repair bill, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Oof. So looking in at a few other buildings that are certainly important, the Exploration Center, most noteworthy for this, is where it says that you get +1 scout queue. That is at level 1, 4, and also 17. That is really important. You'll also get a lot of intelligence related to enemies and their fleets and their spaceports. That actually is extremely helpful, and I found that when I was plundering cities, card up in the top, I had some incomplete information that might have been made whole by virtue of having a higher level exploration center. If for no other reason, you'll want to take this to 17 to get the extra queue, and that will help you explore much, much faster when you're prospecting for sweet loot. The next building we need to talk about is your military headquarters, and this building will increase your fleet leadership limit. This will be very unimportant at the start of the game because you're not going to have that many warships. However, you will find that you gain massive power boosts for space combat as soon as you level up this right over here and can actually fill your fleet with more of those warships. I'm in that place right now. I'm very much looking forward to getting the 500 extra fleet leadership limit capacity. That will be really quite nice. And speaking of fleets, the outfitting factory is a curious building. This doesn't actually show the breakpoints for when you can upgrade your gear on your flagships to the next highest level, but there are, in fact, breakpoints. I can show that to you over here when I pick a piece of gear and I smash upgrade. Level 7 is my max level right now. If I want to get to level 8 with my gear on my flagships, I have to get the outfitting factory to level 21. So the outfitting factory will be the critical blocker for your being able to manufacture higher and higher level gear for your flagship. And yes, this gear does make a very big difference. Now, one of the final buildings we need to talk about is your research center. And unlike other games where you can't do research while this is upgrading, that is not true here. You can continue your research as usual while this thing is upgrading. The research center will be really important to upgrade on a regular basis. It will show you the things that you gain. And honestly, yeah, you should be pushing the limits for what you can research as you unlock higher and higher tier stuff. Obviously, you're going to have to prioritize, but this is a very solid building to keep leveled up along with your command center. The command center is the building you should be looking to push up as aggressively as possible. And the reason for that is that the higher your command center is, the higher everything else can go. You'll also get a little bit of resource gathering speed. And unlike other games where you get additional fleet queues by virtue of leveling up your command center. In this instance, it's actually the research that will do that for you. So you do need to get your command center higher and then your research center higher, and then you'll be able to go research extra fleet queues, which in the early part of the game, you're really not going to need those too much. You're going to be struggling to get enough warships to fill out your fleets anyways, and you're not even going to have a lot of flagships that are really combat ready. There is, of course, one other very important thing we need to talk about these buildings, and that is the fact that you can have one extra queue for building. This is a big deal. It takes corium, but think of the corium investment that you're using as sort of like buying speed ups. You purchase the extra slot right over here, and for 24 hours, you can have an extra queue going. That is a big deal. 200 corium for a 24-hour speed up. It is a steal. That is a absolute steal. Normally, you pay way more corium for way less speed up. So the starting point is to absolutely, at all times, try to have 2 queues going at the same time until you literally cannot farm enough resources to keep 2 things upgrading at all times, which does look like a thing that will happen to me in the not too distant future. Looking in at the storage center as one last building we haven't really talked about, I'm not too worried about protecting my resources, and in general, I don't think you need to worry about this too much either. Why is that? Because you should be able to spend them down very, very quickly anyways, and you shouldn't be popping all your tokens that give you resources unless you actually need them. So you should have a very easy time keeping your resources in token form and not exceeding the limit of your storehouse. And there should be very few exceptions to that. So the storehouse is something that you'll upgrade as you go, the storage center. And honestly, leave that as one of the last things you do, only when it's required for other stuff. If you found this introduction to your spaceport buildings helpful, do me a huge favor and throw a like on the video. It supports the channel and is a way of letting me know, hey, Chisgule, this was great advice. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. If you're looking for some more tips about Infinite Galaxy, I'll have a card up in the top with some of my juiciest tips that I've found so far. And of course, more exciting stuff to come, so be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time, you have fun smashing your nebula.